MemberMouse is a WordPress plugin. So just based on that fact, we run in an environment we can't control, right? So WordPress is making updates when they make updates. These can come with, lead time, or it could come with little lead time. You can run MemberMouse alongside tons of other plugins. You can run it alongside tons of other themes. And WordPress has best practices that they recommend to developers of themes and plugins to follow. But of course, what happens when you have a lot of people developing at different skill levels, you can end up with a situation where someone's done something where it kind of creates issues in the sandbox for everybody else running in that environment. So this happened just because of the nature of the fact that MemberMouse runs in an environment that we can't control. There end up being a lot of situations where the operations of MemberMouse are interfered with for various reasons. So before we had safe mode, it was very hard to track down where the source of the problem was coming from. If MemberMouse wasn't functioning the way it was advertised to do so, obviously people would reach out to us and say, we're having this issue. And of course, as a developer, I've learned through the best practice of testing is first to get as clean an environment as you can and identify where the source of the problem is. And so this is the purpose of safe mode. Safe mode, when you turn it on, it removes all the variables of other themes and plugins. And as a result of that, you're basically taking a huge step forward towards troubleshooting in the most efficient way, because once you've done that, if the problem can still be replicated in an environment where it's just MemberMouse and WordPress, then it's more likely that the issue lies with MemberMouse itself. However, if you turn all the theme off and the other third-party plugins off, and you can't replicate the issue, then that's a good indicator that the issue is being caused by some interplay between the plugins and themes and MemberMouse, et cetera, right? So the purpose of safe mode is to help our support team come to a recommendation for what the next steps are in the quickest way possible. And I would say it's been a very successful thing, because otherwise you may be chasing the wrong tail, in which case isn't going to help you in the long run. Now, in terms of how it actually functions, it's very straightforward. WordPress knows what theme is active and what plugins are active based on two fields in the database. Pretty much, there's a couple fields in the database where it'll say, I don't remember the exact terminology, but conceptually it's like active theme equals whatever. Active plugins, and then it's like some JSON encoded list of plugin identifiers. So all we do when you turn safe mode on, MemberMouse simply copies all those values, stores them, and then clears them out from the database, so that to WordPress there are no active themes and plugins. Therefore, it goes to the default WordPress theme. I actually skipped over a little bit of detail there. WordPress won't automatically go to the default WordPress theme. MemberMouse actually detects, if the default WordPress theme is installed, and then selects that, and then puts it as the active theme in the database. So essentially now to WordPress, it's the default theme is running and there are no plugins activated, right? So it'll run in that environment. Now, when you disable safe mode, we simply put those values back in. Now, the beauty of this is that if you actually were to deactivate plugins manually, there may be some deactivation actions that get kicked off by those plugins. Data may be changed in the database. Configuration data may be affected by you actually taking the action of deactivating them. But because we're simply through the database directly in deactivating these, it doesn't actually, none of those actions get taken place. So you're not actually messing with any of the potential configuration of those plugins. So it's so the result of doing it is that 0 things are changed. So it's not risky, in other words, to do it in the way that we do, in the way that we approach it. So I think that's pretty much, I think that answers all the questions on that.